Hey folks, I'm Mike. Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/Inkdependence. It keeps this blog ad-free. Hey folks, welcome to Ink Dependence. I'm Mike, and today we're taking a look at this ink. This is Robert Oster Viola, and this is a sample I've had for a little while. Thank you, Anderson Pens, for sending this out. And there is what this ink looks like, which is it's kind of this awesome dusky purple. And if you are a viewer of this channel for very long, you know I don't really do purple very much. But this ink is an exception, and I've really been enjoying it. I don't actually see this on the Anderson Pens website right now, so I don't know if it's just out of stock or what the deal is there. Maybe it's just kind of harder to find. But if you like this ink, I'd say run out and try to find some because it is pretty dope. So let's take a look at this one right here. This is my regular Rhodia 80 grams per square meter paper that I usually use. And this paper is, of course, a little bit coated, so you're not going to have a whole lot of ink soaking through or anything like that. And you can see on the back, there's a little bit of bleed right here in this swatch, but not very much. And this pad is a little bit less water resistant or ink resistant than some other Rhodias I've had. I don't know why. This is a fairly thin ink, which is probably why you get all this awesome shading. I mean, look at the cool shades you get in here. You've got grays and blues and purples and like there's some like pink in there, it seems. All kinds of cool stuff in here, and you see a lot of that in your normal writing day to day with just a regular old pen. This is a Pilot Custom 74, which is a great pen. If you haven't tried one of these, I'd say do it. This one has a medium nib, and it's a little bit on the wet side. It has been tuned because this nib, I didn't care for it when I first got it, so it just got tuned up a little bit, but it's not a crazy grind or anything, it's just a medium. It's a little on the wet side, perhaps, but nothing crazy going on there either. So pretty medium nib, really. And man, this ink looks real cool on some papers. Here's a paper it doesn't perform super well on, and this is my Staples 20-pound, 30% recycled copy paper. It's doing a lot of spreading here. You see a few little feathers, but I think you'd see more feathers if it wasn't spreading so much, honestly. It really just kind of soaks into this paper, but it's got this recycled content. I'm not super surprised. This is like the cheapest paper you can get, probably. And you can see a little bit of bleed here. Not a terrible amount of bleed, honestly, for this paper, but it's not great either. So not really ideal for this paper, although I think it does look kind of cool. It takes on an interesting character, but it's not nearly as interesting as if you have it on some better paper. So put this paper on the good stuff. You're going to have a good time. All right, let's do our, can I move this up here? Good. There we go. Running out of room on my table here. Let's do our water test right quick. Here we go. Put some of this water on here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Let's get some on the words too, because hey, why not? All right. Get a little shimmy. There we are. All right, you can already see a lot of it coming away, which is not a huge surprise. Not too many waterproof purples out there, or water-resistant purples. I'm not really sure why. It's probably the pinkish red content that does that. Those are kind of hard colors to make waterproof, from what I hear. Let's get this up here too. There we go. All right. So, yeah, not water resistant, although you can still read it. Like, it just comes off as a very mild, like, carnation-y pink, which is kind of fun. Hey, there's another flower for you. Violas and carnations. So, yeah, not particularly water resistant, but nonetheless, pretty darn cool looking ink. Here is the chromatography for this ink, and I think it's pretty darn dope. I mean, look at that. So you never really know what to expect when you're doing chromatography on a purple ink or a brown ink or sometimes a black ink. They can do really cool things. This one has a lot of pink content in there, a little bit of like this violet up here, and then a super bright blue line up at the top. Really interesting thing, right? I think that's pretty dope. This blue is especially pretty, but all this stuff together gives you this really interesting color. Let's look at it on a couple of other papers. This is an Inky Fingers notebook, currently inked stuff. I really like these Inky Fingers notebooks, and you can still find these online at inkyfingers.com. And here is the way this ink looks on a wheatgrass, goodness, like a wheat straw paper. And you get a lot of this pink coming through. You get a good amount of like grays and purples, all kinds of nice stuff in there. I think it looks particularly good on here. It's got a nice flow to it. I haven't ever had any hard starts, and as you can see, I've been using this for quite a long time. Since like last April, I've been using this Viola in this pen. Kind of sparingly, because I don't use a whole lot of purple, but I have refilled it once or twice, and I think it's pretty darn nice. So, there we go. That's the wheat straw paper. Next, of course, Ink Journal's Tomoe River paper, and here it is here as well. All kinds of nice colors in this one too. It's a little bit less dark because it doesn't soak into Tomoe River, because it's Tomoe River, but you do get all these interesting colors in here. This is something that's gotten more popular, I think, recently with things like the Sailor Studio lines and some of those inks, which are undersaturated and give you all this interesting color variation. This one is definitely opaque enough to use and read and all that sort of thing, which is not the case with some of the other ones like the Studio... where is it? I just put it in a pen and immediately took it out, like this one. This is 173, and man, that is unusably pale, right? So, unlike that, you can definitely read this this Viola. All right, let's look at some color comparisons. I didn't really have anything that was exactly like this one because, man, that's got a bunch of cool stuff in there, right? I've only got like 3 or 4 to compare it to, and it's just because they sort of capture individually pieces of this Viola essence here. All right. So, firstly, the light bits are kind of like what you have in here in Toucan Violet. Viola and Violet are definitely related plants, and you get a bit of that here too. Although Viola, I think, is much more interesting than the Toucan Violet. Toucan Violet is more one note. This one has all the notes. Then we have, I've got Cult Pen's Deep Dark Purple here. These Cult Pen's Diamine inks are really nice, and you get the same kind of tone in this medium bit as you do here. More sheen, of course, of the Deep Dark Diamines. That's kind of what they go for, and more black stuff in here. So if you're looking for an ink which is darker and maybe a bit more, well, like, it's not professional because, I mean, frankly, it's a purple, and that's not what you use in most office settings, but like whatever. And then lastly, Robert Oster Claret, which is easier to get, I believe. I also got this sample from Anderson Pens. And Claret is slightly redder, but it has a lot of the same interesting qualities as Viola, which is you get all these like different colors in here and like sort of a mottled thing going on, but definitely a more reddish kind of purpley color. So yeah, Robert Oster Viola is, I think, definitely one to worth checking out. It is just, it's really cool, even to this purple inkator. All right, so that's that. Check it out at Anderson Pens if you can find it. Otherwise, buy some other stuff there. But find this at your favorite Robert Oster purveyor. I will see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Peace out.